Hey everybody, it's Dave, Blue Jacket 66 here for another video. Usually I say a quick video. This one's probably going to be a little bit longer because I really wanted to pay homage to some of our fellow YouTubers and some of the great cards that they have. Specifically, I wanted to show 10 cards from 10 different YouTubers that just really jazz me up. That I think are great cards, cards that I want, and cards that are right up my alley of collecting. Some of these videos are several years old, and I've tried to show a camera clip of kind of a screenshot of their video so it says who they are and what I believe the title of their video was, and then I'll try to show a close-up of the card. There's a lot of YouTubers out there. There's a lot of this going on out there. I like to see vintage cards, and I like to see people that own vintage cards, specifically Prewar cards. Myself, I collect Prewar cards as well as vintage cards, primarily of the 50s. I specialize in food and beverage issues and regional card issues. I got a couple Frenchie pups in the room with me, so with Frenchies, anything can go. So if you're hearing weird noises or chewing, that's what it is. So some of these YouTubers are my friends. Some of them I don't know at all. There's probably other videos out there from other people that have stuff that would equally excite me. I would message me if you show those type of videos. Those are the type of videos I'm interested in primarily. I want to see vintage card collectors. I want to see what you have. I want to see your excitement. And I want to learn. Everything else on YouTube to me is fluff, to be perfectly honest. But I want to show you these YouTubers who've got the right stuff and have some incredible stuff. So I'm going kind of in an order from 10 down to 1, and with the number 1 being the card that excites me the most. I will talk a little bit about these issues. I've been a long-time collector. I'm not one of these collectors that collected for 3 or 4 years during my childhood, and then over the last 3 years, and so call myself a 20-year collector. Been collecting since the mid-70s, pretty much all the way through, with a little bit of a pause from, I would say, 1995 to 2002 or so. You can check out my prior videos that go way back for some cool stuff, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So these are the cards that I do not own, that are from YouTube collectors that own these cards, except for one. I had to cheat on one. And I will talk a little bit about the issues because I know a little bit about all of them, I believe. But I don't know. Let me just tell you something. There's experts on every single one of these issues, experts who could sit there and talk for 3 hours on it, and they're not on YouTube, okay? Majority of vintage, especially pre-war experts, probably don't even know there's people talking about sports cards on YouTube. Number 10 from Vintage Oddball Cards, his 1915 Crackerjack Christy Mathewson. Rick has a beautiful example there. He is a Christy Mathewson collector, as am I. I do not have the 1915 Crackerjack. It's one of those cards that it's kind of always out there, and I always thought I would get to it, and I never got to it, and it's extremely expensive now. As you may or may not know, there were 2 years of Crackerjacks, the 1914 and 1915. There's some differences between the two issues. Specifically, there's several players in the 1914 issue that were not in 1915, and there's a little different issue number, so there's a few more in 1915 that were not seen in 1914. There are 2 players, however, had cards in both those years, but have different poses. One of them is Christy Mathewson, We've shown you his portrait, which is from 1915. And in 1914, he had this fabulous pitching pose. This card is probably the most sought after 1914 Cracker Jack card, along with the Shoeless Joe Jackson and the Ty Cobb period. Del Pratt was the other player that had two different poses. So, 1914 only came out in Cracker Jack, 1915 came out in Cracker Jack, or you could send away for the complete set for a coupon and 25 cents. Therefore, you find some 1915s that do not have the fantastic caramel staining, whereas all the 14s you presumably should. Some people like to try to soak the cards to try to get some of the caramel stains off. I wish they wouldn't do that. So number 10 was the 1915 Cracker Jack Christy Mathewson, which I love that card. Wish I had it. Number 9, John Mangini from the Mangini collection. His 1912 Colgan's Chips Honus Wagner. This is from his kind of tabletop collection of some of his Colgan's chips. This is a fantastic issue. They're round, say quarter size, paper thin images of stars from that time, 1912, you can imagine. It does not have a Mathewson or Johnson, I believe, but of course it's got Cy Young and Cobb, and it's fantastic. You would get a little tin of these chips, which I believe were gum chips, so you can possibly consider this one of the first, or if not the first, gum issue. And in that little tin, you'd have your gum chips, and you would have one of these little rounded picture discs. They also were larger tins of these Colden's chips that were quite a bit bigger than these little 5-cent tins, but it's a fantastic issue. I do not have the Honus Wagner. I wish I did. So that is number 9 of a beautiful issue from a fantastic YouTuber who is a king amongst kings of vintage sports cards. Number 8, Sully Sports Cards. His 1947 tip-top bred Yogi Berra. I am a food and beverage collector. I am a regional card collector. This tip-top bread card falls into both. I do not own this card. I would freaking love to have this card. There's a very low population of this Berra. There was quite a few cards in the set. I can't remember how many. I think 163 or so. Tip-top bread was regional within many cities actually, primarily East Coast. I imagine they came in the bread. There's a lot of no-name players in it, but there's the biggie would be this kind of pre-rookie of Yogi Berra. There's also a Rizzuta and a kind of a pre-rookie of Warren Spahn. Honus Wagner is actually in this as kind of an old guy. Boy, I would love to have this. I do have some tip-top bread cards. On the back, it's pretty much, I don't think I'll show a picture of the back, but it's essentially, it's an advertisement for Tip Top Bread. Now, Tip Top Bread did cards and bread labels, really, I think going back to the 30s. If you know anything about my channel or you watch my channel, a quiz for you would be, what is one of my white whales that has to do with Tip Top Bread? And that is the 1952 Tip Top Bread Mickey Mantle bread label. It's a white whale for me that I would love to own someday, but I don't know. It's in the sky zone. So thanks Sully Sports Card for that. I am envious of you. That's a card I don't have, and it's a fantastic card that you own. Number 7 on my list, Alex with Bowman 53, his 1909 E95 Philadelphia Caramel Ty Cobb. Look at this beauty. This is another low pop card from a fabulous set. Those candy issues and candy cards in the 1920s and earlier I love them. It's very, very hard to keep up with them and to sit and talk knowledgeably about them, because pre-war collecting in these issues is so complex, and there's so many rabbit holes. But this is an obtainable set because there's only 25 cards in it. And besides the fantastic Ty Cobb is the Christy. By the way, I don't think I own any of these. Except maybe, I think, a Connie Mack. But there's a Christy Mathewson as well, and a Wagner. And these are beautiful cards, very sought after. You see this Cobb not uncommonly, actually. Usually when you see them from grades 1 to 3, just like a lot of pre-war cards. You want them to have big borders on them and just that beautiful red, deep, rich tone. And I really wish I owned one. I do not, but Alex does. So congratulations to Bowman 53, a card I'd love to have. This E95 Philadelphia Caramel. Number 6, someone I talk to and text quite often. He's a Babe Ruth specialist. He has a lot of similar collecting interest with me. I recently had a huge purchase that I spoke to one person and one person only about, and that was him. And I will probably make a video of that sometime. I tend to probably make videos about 10% of my cards, I'll be honest with you, and his purchases as well. But I probably will about this one because it was something interesting happened with Golden Auctions with it. But Jay Stadelmeyer won his 1909 E92 Dockman & Sons Honus Wagner. Just a incredibly rare card. The E92s came with a few add-backs. The Dockman & Sons, the Crafts Cocoa, the Crafts Candy, Naja Caramel. Those are the backs on it. And interestingly, Crafts Candy came in 3 different colors. Red, blue, and black, I think. But anyway, Dockman & Sons is actually probably the most common back. But there's not many of these. I would guess that there's 15 to 20 maybe or so. He's got a fantastic example. These Dockman & Son cards, some of the poses are some of them, the Mathewson Dockman & Sons E92, in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful baseball cards ever made. But his Dockman & Sons here is just a fantastic Honus Wagner. You may recognize this pose or not. It's the same pose, same picture. Sorry, my Frenchies. As the E105 Mellow Mint, which I do have that card. So really envious and happy for him to own this card, because it is a fantastic issue and would highlight anybody's collection. Next, number 5, Silver Jackify, his 1888 in 162 Goodwin Champions. Cap Hanson, look at this card. Wowzers. It is one of the most beautiful sports cards, baseball cards ever made. And I remember when he made this video, I was just flabbergasted. I think he got it at a national, I'm pretty sure he did, maybe 2017, maybe in Cleveland, I can't remember. But let me just tell you, you gotta watch his video, and all these videos. The reason I'm putting him up there is not to hear me yap, is I'd really love you to go back and watch the videos of these cards. And you may stumble upon something else in their channel that interests you as well. You probably will. But this set was a set of 50 cards, and they were I guess all athletes, but not all, just a few baseball players. There was, there's even billiards players in it. But this is just a beautiful card. King Kelly was another player in that card, in that set. And these were found in Gypsy Queen and Old Judge cigarette packs. So I'm just telling you, I would love, love, love to own this card. This card is very, very pricey, as most of these cards I'm showing are. But that's the way it goes when you have all these just incredible cards. So the 1888 in 162 Goodwin Champions, Cap Hanson by Silver Jackify. Next coming up is a collector's dream. His 1949 Babe Ruth premium, not just any premium. It is the blue Babe Ruth. I don't know what to tell you, but I tell you what, when he made this video and I saw that, I said, if you ever sell that card, or the premium, I would love to have it. I've never seen one before. It is freaking fantastic. You know, these premiums, they're from 1949 Leaf. In with the cards, they were on the bottom of the box of cards, and essentially the box of the 1949 Leaf said that whoever bought the last pack of cards would get the premium at the bottom. So there's a whole set of these fantastic premiums. I'm trying to, we'll just call these, here's a kind of a postcard. So you get or an exhibit card, so you get an idea how big these are. So, but his is a Babe Ruth, but it's the blue. I've never seen that before. And it is absolutely fantastic. I'm so envious of it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. All those 49 Leaf premiums are gorgeous. But to have a Babe Ruth and have a blue one is crazy. I mean, that's really crazy. So congratulations to him, and that is something to be very, very proud of. Next, this card's just nuts. I mean nuts. I'll be honest with you. If you're a sports card collector and you just want to learn anything, you need to watch this video by Andrew Nufsack Cards. It's a 1924 Diaz Cigarettes Walter Johnson. I think he texted me, when he was buying this, around the time he bought it. Watch this video. The circumstances for which he bought this are incredible, and it should be incredible because there are only 2 or maximum 3. I think there's maybe 3 of these Diaz Cigarette Walter Johnsons known on the face of the earth, at least graded. They were Cuban issue. That's all about I know. I do know that they were just pictures in the entire set, and I don't know how many's in the set. I want to say 24. I may be wrong, but I do know that they were all pictures for some reason. And it's a fantastic image, and it's a wow. I mean, wow. 1924 Diaz Cigarettes, Walter Johnson. I just shake my head. He showed it once. I don't know if he's ever showed it again. And here the man has one of the most incredible cards ever seen on YouTube. He's very humble about his collection and semi-secretive. Next, and we're winding down. My gosh, we're number 2. This channel is called The Collector. And he doesn't make videos very often. He used to make them relatively often. I don't know if he's made one in the last year. He's one of the first YouTubers I ever watched, and there's a great possibility that if I could only watch one YouTuber, and he was going to be prolific with his YouTube presentations, it would probably be him. He's got an amazing collection. But here is his 1911 D304 Brunner's Ty Cobb. I don't know what to tell you. If you know anything about pre-war cards, you're crapping your pants. I mean, this is, I think I'm showing like a PSA 4. This is a stupendous, rare, and valuable card. The D304s, I know Andrew Nuffside Cards has a Cy Young. I have a Mathewson. Image is not great, but the image on this Cobb is fantastic. This is a General Baking issue by the General Baking Company, so there's several backs on it. There's the General Baking back, there's this Brunner's bread back, there's a butter crust back, there's a Martin's bakery back, and a Weber baking back. Those are just their ad backs. This is incredibly rare, incredible valuable, and I don't have one. I would love to have one. I wanted to have one for 20 years. The D304 in any of the backs. And the Ty Cobb is just elusive, and you do not see them very often. I've seen them at auction several times over the last 10 years, and they go for big bucks. And the one that the collector has here is the finest example I've ever seen personally. So that is that, and we go down to number 1, and this is where I cheated a little bit because all my other card presentations have been from fellow YouTubers. This one is, however, the greatest card that I would ever want that I've seen on YouTube that I do not own. Well, put an asterisk by that. But anyway, the 1912 Plows Candy Honus Wagner. This YouTube video was presented by Heritage Auction. Gary Simpson is the guest. I think I'm going to make a Plows video at some point. I got to really think hard about that because this set is near and dear to my heart since it walked into my life in 1979. I thought I was one of the foremost experts on this set. I've walked on the grounds of where the plant was. I've researched it extraordinarily heavily, and a lot more than that. However, I watched this video with Gary Simpson before some of his cards went to auction with Heritage, and I got slapped in the face about how little I knew about this set. I thought I knew more than anybody I'd known, pretty much. And I knew about 5% of what this man knows about the set. He's written on it. He's written a book on it. He's owned. I don't know what to tell you. You need to watch this. Watch this video on this 1912 Plows Candy set, which, in my opinion, is one of the, if not the greatest baseball set ever made. That's quite arguable, with many people, but it's dear and dear to my heart. This Wagner was. We'll just say it's the only one graded. And the highest graded, because it's the only one graded. It graded a 7. I think it sold at Heritage for $330,000. Personally thought that it could go quite a bit higher than that, to be honest with you. Especially the way, and I think that was maybe a year ago that was at auction. But especially come on now. People pay $200,000 for a Justin Herbert gold vinyl blah, 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 who's autoed, which is insane. It's insane to do that. Actually insane. And so for this to go $330,000, I thought it would go quite a bit higher. It's just an unreal card and an unreal image. And I do not own that PSA 7. And I just love this video. I would suggest that perhaps sometime, if you have 45 minutes, if you're driving and you actually want to learn something about a pre-war issue, you watch that video, because most all pre-war issues are not just standalone. There's the issue. There is an incredible amount of backstory to them. They tie into other issues. There's rabbit holes, and that's why pre-war is so hard. So hard to master, to know about. And that's what's one of the things fun about it, is it's never mastered and you're always learning. So there it is, 10 cards I don't own that are owned by fellow YouTubers, and I want your card because they are fantastic and I really appreciate you showing them on YouTube. So that's it. I think I have a couple more videos coming. I don't really like making videos, to be honest with you. But I have one I would like to do on a recent purchase that I have, and one other thought I was thinking about. And I'm really going to get on my video on auction houses, the big auction houses, kind of a primer on that. But that will really be a big production. That's going to take me a long time to put that together. So you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and check out these channels, check out their cards, and have a good day.